Tonight, the hunt continues for the gunman behind last Saturday's double homicide in Vieux-Fort. Vieux-Fort fishermen have mixed reactions to the return of two colleagues lost at sea for 4 days. Sarah Flood-Bobran steps down as deputy speaker, and the opposition refers to the Constitution to decide its next move. And a group of vacationing students pay a courtesy call on the Governor General. A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the DBS News World with me, Timothy Polio. Our top story. Vieux-Fort fishermen were in a somber mood today as the reality of the loss of one of their own set in. Two fishermen who went missing last week Thursday were found over the weekend, but unfortunately, one did not survive the experience. DBS's Melissa Paul begins our news coverage.
Last week Thursday, the two men set out on what would have been a routine fishing expedition. They left port just after 6 a.m. on board the fishing boat Move It. When they did not return by that evening, friends and relatives grew anxious. The owner of the boat recounts the last time he saw the two men, one of whom was his uncle.
It was Thursday, it was Wednesday night, because Thursday morning they went out fishing.
Tell us, you got any call or anything?
No, I didn't get no call because normally that man does come back fishing 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So by the time it was 4 o'clock, I didn't see him. I tried calling his phone, but his phone kept on ringing. When 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I didn't see him, so I went in his locker and I found out the phone was in the locker. So I had to make a report to the Marine base.
Searches for the men proved futile. It was not until Sunday that the local Marine police received confirmation from French officials that the crew of a passing vessel had picked up two individuals fitting the description of the missing fishermen some 90 nautical miles west of St. Lucia. But the news wasn't all good. As it turns out, one of the two had not survived the trip. The news had been met with mixed feelings.
Well, I'm feeling good in a way that they get them. But it's just a sad story that my uncle died on the vibe. So a little sad my uncle passed away. Yeah.
And how long has he been a fisherman?
Most of his life he's been a fisherman.
Police are working with health officials and the lone survivor of the fishing trip to figure out what exactly transpired over the 4 days that the two men were missing. For the DBS News World, Melissa Paul reporting.
The family and friends of the island's latest homicide victims say they were unprepared for the violent end suffered by the two men. Both were shot by a masked individual on Saturday morning. More in this Alex Busque report.
30-year-old Kwasi Jr. Gilbert alias Sparks and 31-year-old Miguel Theodore alias Bright Eyes were shot by a masked individual in the wee hours of Saturday morning in Vieux-Fort. Hours before, the pair were reportedly having a good time, drinking and partying. No one could have guessed the violence they would suffer later.
That same Friday night, we was up the road giving a jokes. They was drinking Bright, enjoying themselves, drinking Campari. They was just enjoying themselves, giving jokes, everybody laughing, people passing, laughing, everybody. I never thought that would have happened. Just hours before they died, I saw them. We was drinking.
Theodore recounts the moment he learned of his cousin's death.
My father was talking on the phone and I overheard him. I was sleeping. When I wake up, he was saying, my mother was telling him, they shot my cousin and Sparks. Sparks is a friend of ours. So they shot Sparks and my cousin. My father was asking if they was dead. My mother was saying no. So my mother called him to bring her in the hospital and see them. So I went with them.
He says for a brief moment the family's hopes were raised when they learned that both men were awake and talking. But that hope quickly dissipated.
They were in good condition because they were talking. They were in critical condition. They were talking, everything. But afterwards they start saying Spark knocked out and he was bleeding a lot, so he wouldn't make. They say he wouldn't make it, but they say Miguel was still there. Miguel was still alive. Miguel was still. So we thought Miguel would have made it.
Both men eventually passed away. Police are still on the hunt for the perpetrators of the crime. For the DBS News World, I am Alex Bousquet.
In other news, the town of Soufrière will be the first in a series of strategic constituency tours that Prime Minister Alain Chastanet hopes to undertake in the short to medium term. The tour commences from 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, July 28, 2016. The Prime Minister will be accompanied by a parliamentary representative and minister in the Ministry for Economic Development, Housing and Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation, Harold Stanislas, and other cabinet colleagues. The Prime Minister will visit the Soufrière Hospital, the Soufrière Comprehensive Secondary School, the Hummingbird Beach Resort, and the now-defunct Copra Factory. The tour is designed to give the Prime Minister a first-hand idea of some of the key issues impacting Soufrière in the hope of addressing them. This is in keeping with the Prime Minister's pledge to develop the southern quadrant of the island, consistent with the constituency without borders concept. Residents of Tiroche Miku have come together to comfort each other and the family of the 62-year-old woman who lost her life on Sunday in a traffic accident. Melissa Paul has the details.
Sunday was supposed to be a day of celebration for the family of Christina Theophil of Tiroche Miku. It was her 62nd birthday, a day she had been looking forward to for weeks. The happy birthday banner remains above the entrance to her home, a stark reminder of the tragic turn of events that took place. As fate would have it, her birth date would also be the day her life was tragically cut short.
That's not something we were expecting at all. But life is just unpredictable. And the only thing I can really say, it might be a lesson for us to learn that our life does not really belong to us. Sometimes we think that we are the owner of our life, but as I always say, sometimes just behind the corner is your death.
The family hopes that if there is one good thing that comes from a death, it is that it reminds her friends and neighbors of the brevity of life and the need for them to make every second count. After all, that is the way she lived. Her family and friends described her as a woman full of life with a generous heart.
She was a good lady in the community. In fact, she's a lady who actually dressed people like almost like the bush doctors and things. She dressed people and things. And she's been serving the community for quite a while. In fact, I actually heard a girl saying that, yes, tomorrow she was supposed to come for the lady to dress her.
Theothan, by all accounts, was well known and well loved in the community, where she served a number of roles, from part-time herbalist to counselor.
When I'm around her, she treats me as a mother, as a daughter and mother, you know. She dressed me, it's not too long, she just finished dressing me. She dressed everybody, she's good to everybody, and she will do anything for me. If I ask her, she will do it for me. And anytime I have a problem, I meet her and I share my problem with her. She would give me good advice, she would tell me what to do. If I have a pain, she would tell me what medicine to take. She's just a nice lady to everyone.
The family continues to mourn her loss, but even in the midst of their grief, they find it time to celebrate her life and to share memories of her time with them. For the DBS News World, Melissa Paul reporting.
We continue the broadcast with Street Vibes.
Hi, I'm Alex Bousquet, and you're watching Street Vibes. With Miss Sarah Flood-Bober's new appointment, what is your perspective on that move?
To me, it doesn't really matter whether she's deputy speaker or not, as long as she's in the ministry. I think that's basically what's important.
That's very good. That's my rep, and that's the best thing for her. Yes, man. She's suited for the job.
I believe Miss Sarah Flood is a very intelligent, brilliant lady, and I think she, as a minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Prime Minister's office, she could contribute a lot to St. Lucia.
Well, I find with the knowledge and experience that Sarah Flood-Bobre have, I think the direction she's headed to is the right direction. I don't think is wrong with the move.
You've just been watching Street Vibes with me, Alex Busquet, down here at the Aquarius Crossing, the intersection of Coral and St. Louis Streets. With that, we'll take you back to our studio.
Thank you very much, Alex. You are watching St. Lucia's television and news leader and listening to us on Rhythm FM 95.5. We are also online on the big screen at the Aquarius Crossing in downtown Castries. Still to come, the opposition considers its options after the Deputy Speaker resigns and the Cardi introduces new coconut production technologies to farmers. Thank you so much for staying on the broadcast. The opposition St. Lucia Labour Party says that it will be referring to the Constitution to see what it has to say on the latest developments in the House of Assembly. The Deputy Speaker, Sarah Flood-Bobra, stepped down this week in order to accept a ministerial portfolio. Don Nicholas reports.
Tuesday was Mrs. Flood-Bobra's first day on the job. The day was spent interacting and familiarizing herself with staff members and getting adjusted to her new portfolio. She will be functioning as Minister in the Ministry of External Affairs. This means that the post which she previously held as Deputy Speaker of the House is now vacant.
It's an exciting challenge and I welcome it. I welcome the opportunity to work in the Ministry of External Affairs. And the day has gone well. I've had a chance to very briefly meet members of staff and introduce myself, and they introduce themselves to me. And I look forward to working with them. I'm sure we have some very good technical officers here. I am excited to learn as much as I can and to serve St. Lucia to the best of my ability.
Okay. Would you care to talk about any goal or aspiration that you may have?
Well, I would like to see our foreign policy be driven by our national policy. We need to know who we are, what we're trying to achieve, and to put our best foot forward to achieving that.
The opposition Labour Party has aired its views on Mrs. Flood-Bobra's latest appointment. For the opposition, this means that the cabinet has been expanded to accommodate 16 members. The opposition party will be revisiting the constitution to see what obtains in terms of the appointment of a deputy speaker.
Well, that's just one more development in what we expect as in the Labour Party would be decisions that's been made by Alan Chasney that makes no sense. I suppose by UWP logic, this is probably a reduction in the cost of government because the argument has been that by appointing, he had appointed 15 ministers previously and now he appoints another one. He said when he had appointed 15, it would cost the country less than what the Labour would cost the Labour Party cabinet. So now that he has appointed a 16th minister, I assume that's a further reduction in the cost.
The Labour Party had declined the invitation to have one of its members sit as Deputy Speaker of the House. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
In other news, the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, is conducting a coconut production technology training workshop here this week. The objective of the exercise is to train farmers, technicians, and extension officers in coconut production technology, mainly good agricultural practices and integrated pest management. Alex Busquet explains.
Based on studies done last year in the Caribbean region, the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, came on board to identify and rectify the many problems of the coconut industry. That project was put together by the International Trade Center in Geneva, Switzerland. Overseas facilitators are conducting a workshop training coconut growers in good agricultural practices.
People are not aware how to look after the coconut tree. Unfortunately, or I could say unfortunately, because the coconut takes a long time to develop. There are two main types of coconuts. Tall type that comes into bearing about 7 to 10 years after you plant it. And the other one is a dwarf type. Different colors of the dwarf type came from Malaysia originally. They come into bearing from 3 to 5 years after you plant them. Now the dwarf types are good for water. They're not good for oil production because the kernel is not as thick and the content of the oil of the kernel is not as high as in the tall types.
The tall type coconut trees, Paul says, are good for oil and water production, as well as byproducts like soap and detergent. Because of the demand for coconut water, a special dwarf species is being planted that will bear nuts in 3 to 5 years.
There are green types, yellow types, red or golden types, or orange types they're called. We even have a brown type. So we're looking at developing that set of, let's say, activities that the farmers need to know how to look after their plants, all right? What they need to plant. We're going to try to improve the genotypes, that is the varieties that each farmer would grow. So we're trying to develop nurseries. That's why we're here this week. We started looking at nurseries yesterday. We will be spending about $35,000 in each country over the next year to develop the nurseries.
Paul explains during the workshop, facilitators showed the coconut growers how to produce proper seedlings and the various techniques used for keeping the plantation clean. The workshop took place at the conference room at the Auberge Seraphine Hotel at VG. For the DBS News World, I am Alex Bousquet.
At least 1,000 students are expected to benefit from a book bursary program through the Ministry of Education. Here is Don Nicholas with more.
The book bursary program is organized by the Ministry of Education to help unemployed or other less fortunate parents to obtain textbooks. The program started in 2002. Some of the textbooks can be returned for further use depending on their condition, but others are kept by the students.
And what we do here is that we assist parents who are unemployed or parents who are not, who are maybe physically challenged, where they cannot provide for their children, or even homes where children are adopted. We assist these persons so that we can supply the books for them, for the children, so that they can go to school.
Approximately 1,000 children are expected to benefit from the program this year.
The program started in 2002. So it has been going on for at least 14 years now. And we have assisted quite a number of children. We are looking at 1,000 plus children this year.
Organizers say the program has been very instrumental in assisting the marginalized. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
A panel discussion on film and the local film industry took place at the Castries Central Library on Monday evening. The discussion also examined the economic potential of the sector. Alex Bousquet reports.
The aim of the exercise is to engage communities and their youth in discussion about what filmmaking really entails and on the creative industries on a whole. The Caribbean Youth Film Festival is therefore partnering with public libraries island-wide to conduct a series of workshops throughout the next 2 weeks.
The expectation is to engage youth into the activity, especially it's the summer, so we want them to be occupied, something to do, get to understand a new industry, get to have some new skills, to walk away with something, to be able to produce a film that they could enter into the festival and win some prizes. So all in all, it's just a occasion that all youth could participate and take opportunity on.
The festival director says he's been receiving positive feedback from various agencies who showed interest in participating in the festival.
We've just had one so far in Soufriere last week, and it went very well. We had 12 attendees, and they're all very eager to start working on their own films for the competition. And we have the next one scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, the 26th of July, here at Central Library, and that's from 1 to 4 p.m. On Thursday, the 28th, we'll be in Canaries from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Canaries Library. And on Friday, we'll be in Marchand at the Marchand Branch Library from 9 to 12 a.m. And next week, we will be in Groseilliers on the 2nd from 1 to 4, and Choiseul on the 3rd from 1 to 4, and Babineau on the 4th also from 1 to 4.
The screening and panel discussion was organized in collaboration with Dove Productions to promote and jumpstart some of the film festival activities that includes a series of workshops. For the DBS News World, I am Alex Bousquet.
When the DBS News World continues in just a moment, the Governor General gets some special guests. Thank you so much for staying with the DBS News World. Some vacationing students got a rare opportunity to visit Government House today. The children are part of the annual Kids Net Summer Camp. Melissa Paul has more.
The camp is now in its 7th year and is an opportunity for participants to unplug from technology and engage in the real world, meeting new people, trying out new activities, and spending their days being more physically active.
They go horseback riding, swimming, shopping, cinema. They do netball, basketball, football at the complex, arts and craft. They do a number of activities, just like school, but more on a fun basis.
On Tuesday, they got a tour of Government House and a chance to meet Her Excellency Dame Paulette Louise, Governor General of St. Lucia.
Some children only see her on TV, and so Auntie Alice wanted to give them that feeling of pride, of country pride. So meeting the Governor General is something big for them.
Organizers hope that some of the activities engaged in during the camp will help the children develop lifelong skills as well as friendships. For the DBS News World, Melissa Paul reporting.
A visiting couple from Florida in the U.S. made a donation of hygiene kits and soccer balls to the Soufriere Piton Lions Club. The presentation took place at the Hummingbird Resort in Soufriere through Lion Palcid Lascaris, whom the couple met while on a recent fishing trip.
I have been involved, since I've known Placid, it's been 2.5 years, and we met through fishing and we became friends, and although we don't have a lot of money, but we were able to pay it forward a little bit and help the Lions Club. And he's a wonderful man, and I'm sure that he will get everything done that needs to be done.
We have 5 clubs on island, so we're going to use these balls for us to enhance the youth project that we normally assist in, so that we will have the youth partake in activities so that they will stay out of trouble. Also, this can be a stepping stone for a young kid to become a Maradona.
The donation included shavers, razors, clippers, and 50 soccer balls. The couple hopes the balls can be used to help keep community youth constructively involved, physically active, and out of trouble. The broadcast will be back in just a moment. Thank you so much for staying with the DBS News World. Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, along with the government of St. Lucia, has congratulated the St. Lucia Zouks cricket team on their gallant efforts thus far during the Caribbean Premier League Cricket T20. The Prime Minister, in a press release today, congratulated the St. Lucia Zouks team for their performance during the St. Lucia leg of the tournament and for their contribution in the games. Their performances on the field under the guidance of Captain Darren Sammy and coaches Stuart Williams and Trevor Penny, the Prime Minister says, have been passionate and impressive. Meantime, the Prime Minister also recognized and supports the St. Lucian athletes who are off to represent the country at the Rio 2016 Olympics. He encouraged athletes to relish in this moment and commended them for their continuous dedication and perseverance. 19 foreign teams, along with host country St. Lucia, have registered for the 2016 Junior Caribbean Cycling Championships scheduled for July 30th and 31st. The event will feature 53 juniors, 47 juveniles, and 9 girls, totaling 109 cyclists. St. Lucia has named a team comprising of 6 juniors and 3 juveniles to participate. They include, in the juniors category, Andrew Norbert, Dave Shallery, Donald Joseph Calix Williams, Joel Mentor, and Janik Paul. In the juveniles category, Clivert Mitchell, Jesse Mentor, and Hilan Hubert. The team coach is Ramon Leal. Present during the championships will be Mr. Jose Manuel Pelez, President of the Pan American Cycling Confederation and member of the International Cycling Union Management Committee of Cuba, Mr. Trevor Bailey, President of the Caribbean Cycling Federation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Pedro Frias, International Commissary of Cuba, Juan Mercado, International Commissary of Venezuela, and Michelle Marie Saint, Technical Delegate of Martinique. The first event, the individual time trial, will be held on Saturday, July 30th on the Millennium Highway from 2 o'clock in the afternoon near the Le Toc roundabout. Races are as follows. At 2 p.m., girls 10 kilometer, 3 p.m. juveniles 10K, and at 4 p.m. juniors 20 kilometer. The second event will be held on Sunday, July 31st in the VF4 area, starting from 8 o'clock in the morning on the VF4 Library Highway next to the bus terminal. Riders will race on the VF4 Larry Sue circuit, which goes around the airport with a distance of just under 12.5 kilometers. Races for that day are as follows. Girls 50 kilometers, 4 laps. Juveniles 62 kilometers, equivalent to 5 laps, and juniors 100 kilometers, 8 laps. Some teams will be coming in from Thursday, and most are expected to depart on Monday, August the 1st. Well, it seems that this year may see the biggest turnout in terms of countries and riders since the Caribbean Junior Championships have been held on its own. St. Lucia Cycling Association is looking forward, therefore, to a large turnout for the various races. We'll be back in just a moment.